Hi everyone, my name is Kenson LaFleur, also known as Gunta from my professional and stuff. I know this is going to be different from what I just uploaded like 2 months ago and stuff of artwork, but this time it's going to be different. Today we're going to be reviewing music. I asked my friends and stuff, they're like, you should do a review on music. Some of them not so wise because they don't like my opinion, but who cares, losers. But I'm going to be reviewing an album today. This album can be considered maybe one of the greatest albums of all time, not just by me, but to many others. And that album, of course, is Frank Ocean's Blond, released in 2016. For starters, this album and its lyrics and its messaging and its feels I got from it changed drastically. I've listened to this album for a whole year, since last February, so almost a year and a half. In next February I'll be 2 years. But I listened to this for the first time when I was in a relationship. And at the time, this was more like just a love album to me. And that's all it stood for. But then I went through a really bad breakup, and it was just a really bad timing in my life as well. And when I listened to this album again, it was really hard to listen to it because what it meant and what it stood for beforehand, it meant that relationship. But afterwards, it hurt to listen to. But then once I began to grow, metamorphosize again, and grow from my pain and move on, did I actually go back and listen to this again for the third, fourth time and hear it front to back. And now it stands something different for me. It is just something that I enjoy now. It doesn't mean anything more than that. I understand it more, but first off, I just love it more. So I'm going to be going very in-depth. I didn't know how to do these specifically, so I wrote literally everything I thought about each song and what they feel for me. So first off, by how I'm going to rate this album, I'm going to rate it in a letter category. We're going to go from S tier being the highest and D or F being the lowest tier possible. Let's just get right into it. Starting with the first track, Nikes, which is the intro track to the entire album. It's an interesting name and what it stands for in that song, but the drum loop in the beginning, when it starts with that, also, I can't tell what instrument it is, but it's like a high piano or something, or a guitar, some type of thing. It sounds more electrical. I don't know what instrument it is, but it pulled me in when I listened to it. It keeps me captivated and wanting to listen to more. And then I've been a drummer also, so that drum loop in the song kept me interested. And then it continued on, and Frank starts the album in a very high-pitched tone in this song. And he sounds like you better want Nikes, like that. And it's a very interesting way to start for me, I think. I think that's why a lot of people didn't like this song at first, when they just listened to it for the first time. But it sounds nice now when I've listened to it and stuff. I think it sounded very sweet, though, when he was doing the high-pitched tone. And just the way he was talking about things, it sounded very nice. Then the switch to his normal voice was really nice, because then you get to hear his high range and vocal tones, and just how normal and enticing his singing voice is, right? It just goes from E to normal, like, let you guys prophesize, like that, and it pulls you in, because then the beat, it kind of echoes in where you feel like you're being drawn to it. And then after that, you know, the echo, like I said, it feels dreamy with the multiple voices that echo in the background, going in and out and in and out, and just sounding so nice. And then him ending it, just with that, I may be younger, but I'll look after you. I mean something too. It's very beautiful, and for me, it sets a very good vibe for the rest of the album. And moving on to Ivy, the intro also for this, I think that's also a thing just for all like songs Frank does. It's very captivating. Him with the guitar rip, and he encapsulates me, makes me feel like love could be expressed as waves, like calm ocean waves that you relax on, maybe at the coast of the beach, or also just like when you blow bubbles when you were a kid, and just how fun that was. That's how he expresses the love, and that's how I imagine it. It gives me pure bliss in the line talking about the feeling deep down is good, you know, where you're feeling the feeling deep down that they try to hide, it's good, you know. And I just think it's very interesting, that line. It could mean multiple things. Maybe the people are still in love with each other, and they know it's not a bad thing, but it also could mean multiple things, and that's, I think, really nice. I just don't know how to take it necessarily, what the feeling represents, what it's exactly supposed to mean. But then he ends it in a higher pitch again, but the way he does it, he's like talking really quiet. It sounds like he's whispering, or he's like really shy. He's like, oh, I don't want to talk. And then he is like asking a question about things that his partner said, like, did you really mean to say that? And then he starts screaming in a higher pitched voice. It's so beautiful, because then in the background the guitar is rising, you can hear it more, and then it's stretching out when he like strums it, and it goes and just continues to do that, and then it just ends. And then when you end, you can hear like a guitar, not guitar, drums doing a pattern and stuff, doing a beat, and then also sounds like he's moving a set around. Like, I think that's really interesting how it ended like that. Then Pink plus White, the switch to that is really beautiful, because it starts with a violin, and for me the intro is very nerve shaking. I really love the violin that he incorporates in it, and then it just switches to that piano riff. I just love the piano, and then just the way the melody goes, da-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. It just keeps you in line, and then in the back you can hear the bass, and then so damn good, bro. But then it keeps you anticipating more. You want more. You continue to elaborate, listening to it and stuff like that. And then afterwards, the way he's singing is so dreamlike. He's not being high pitched. He's not being overly expressive with his tone. He's talking in a more monotone like I am right now. Like I talk like this naturally half the time, but he talks like that. And he's like, that's the way every day go, every time we lose control. Just that, it's very dreamlike, and it's very captivating. And then when the electro comes in later in the song, I don't know exactly what it is. It's very beautiful. And then at the end of the song, really, where it fades out, then that part into the Beyonce's natural screams or sounds of voice. It's like a feeling of ease, like the world's lighter around you, and it feels like you're just living in pure bliss, maybe of love, maybe of just pure ecstasy or adrenaline. Not really adrenaline, I'd say, but more peace of mind. Like all your stress is just being lifted off your chest. That's how it feels for me. And it's just, her delivery of it is very natural, very beautiful, and sounds just really nice for me. Then you move to Be Yourself, which is very short. It's a interlude, of course, and then it's a short song with the messaging being about, being yourself. And I think it teaches a really good lesson about forming one's own idea, not trying to be somebody else. Like it says, don't try to be someone else, be yourself. And learning to be yourself I can relate to, which was hard for me in my life, which I won't get into, but it's very interesting how you have to do that, not to just get sucked into everyone around you, what they're doing. Don't try and be them. Try to be you. Learn to be you in what you stand for, not what they stand for, what you personally stand for. I think that's a good lesson to learn, because then I feel a lot of people in my day and age, with social media and all that stuff, they get sucked into this world that isn't real and try to be something that they're not. And it leads them down this path sometimes that ends with their life ruined, And I think just the way it talks about being yourself and expressing yourself is good, because if you don't do that, you can't get anywhere. And like things like that helped me in my life, where I was able to be active as an artist if I didn't be myself. Then we move on to the solo. I think I remember the needle drop, also nice. Anthony Fantay said this is his favorite song, if I remember correctly, but for me, I think this is one that kind of gets overshadowed a bit by some of the other songs, especially the ones right before it, and then the ones to be just right after it. So it kind of it's like this middle child that you kind of forget about. But the constant wordplay of solo is really interesting to me. The melody, though, in the song is very beautiful, though. It makes me feel like I'm at church, the church I went to when I was 5 years old. And it was so it feels like you're in a black church. Like the instrument tone, the vibe of it, it feels like that. And it just, the echo-ness, like in the entire album, it's so echoey, but it sounds very beautiful, very dreamy. And the pure sound of his voice, for me, it felt like waves crashing, and it feels like you're trying to escape something you can't. Like the way he was talking, the way he was running with his voice, it just feels like he's trying to run from something, but you can't. And then the end of it, it feels like you're actually able to then let it go. It just, you just escape it, and it goes away like the flowing wind. I feel. Then after that, we go to Skyline 2, which is a shorter song compared to every other song again, but the guitar riff was very nice. I liked it a lot. Then muted drums was very interesting in this song, where it was sounding like the drum was in a different room, like you're in an apartment building, you're in your room trying to sleep, but you can hear that bass tapping through the wall and you can hear it vibrate. It's very interesting how he incorporated that, just not using it straight off bass, just it sounds more echoey and stuff like that. So I think that was a very interesting way to use the bass in the song. But the switch though, at the end is nerve shaking, and then just the way it's like, it feels like you're rocking, and then it's the ending of the song, it's very enticing. The echoes, like I said, of him screaming, well, not screams, but high, of him just going like stuff like that. It's very, it feels very welcoming, very warm when I would listen to it and stuff. Then moving on to probably, I think what people say is definitely the best song on the album. Self-Control. This one is, I think, definitely the one that changed the most for me personally, because this is the song I was referring to in the beginning, where it meant something. This was the love song for me and her. So for me, a long time, this hurt to listen to the most. Now I listen to it, I think still it's very, one of the most interesting and encapsulating songs I've ever heard. The intro for me was a little odd. It goes back to that high pitch voice. I can't with my English. I'm a little under the emotion, but the high pitch is like Nike's again, how it starts like that.
Poolside convo about your summer last night. Ooh, yeah. About your summer last night. Ain't give you no play. Could I make it shy last night?
And I'm not a huge fan of how it was necessarily used in this song, but then the rest of the song makes up for it, so it doesn't even matter for me. But then it then switches to the guitar, and it feels like around a campfire, and like it's like single notes. Kind of makes me think of The Last of Us when you play Zelly or Joel, and you learn to play guitar, like in this, like their songs they play. It's very captivating, and then the high pitch, in the tone, is very mystical for me. I couldn't find a better word to describe it, but it feels very mystical for me, and it feels sad because of the old meaning for me at the same time, what it meant for me then. And then the echo and the switch is so beautiful. Is like, I described it as a beauty in a bottle. That's how I described it. Just that switch in the song was very enticing. It felt good. Like, I don't know how to describe it any other way, but it felt good. And then after that, for me, it felt like memories rushed past me. Like, it was, it feels like it had like you recorded this on a 2000s camera, and it just reminds me of my youth, but it then also feels really sad and dreaming and remembering things of the past at the end. and the ending really for me is very drowning, and I feel like for a bit though, after that, after you get out of that drown, you're just falling slowly from a cloud, like you're in the sky and you fall through it, and then you're just falling through as the sun shines through the clouds. Like, if I were to describe, if you think of, I think, Come to Life's music video from Kanye West, where he's in the sky and he's like holding his chest and stuff like that, that's how I feel when I listen to that song. And then we then transition to Good Guy. This is another song that I genuinely don't have much to say because it's not that long, and I don't really think much of it because of everything around it. It's just, right, it's like that middle child, like I said. But I said, though, it, for me, it really feels like everything he says, though, like, even though he doesn't say much, it feels like he's talking from the heart when he's talking about this subject matter in that short, like, minute and 25. Then we transition to, I think, one of my favorites of the album, Nights. It's a lot of people's favorites as well, but Tonight's, the intro is so warm and welcoming. It reminds me of life, like when you're a kid again, like that meme where everyone's like, life in 2016. That's exactly how I imagine it. And it's funny too because the album came out in 2016, but it feels like there's nothing wrong in the world, like right there. It like, compared to every other song, this one feels the most warm. It feels like you're like just a happy kid just walking down the street at first, and then but then listening, I started to talk more about the wordplay, but then he starts talking about the things. He's like, he feels like, for me, when I was listening to him talk, it feels like he had so much to say, but so little time to do it. And then this is when the transition comes, and oh my god. Apologize. The transition is really hazy. And then just that build up with the bass and the guitar, and it keeps going and going and going, and then it just feels like he's running them from an issue, and then he's finding a reason, and then the build up from that guitar then glitches and it like freezes up. It's like glitch, and then it does the flip where it goes up, down, glitters, and then does the piano. And I think for me, that's probably one of the best transitions I think I've ever heard in an album, but a song alone. And this separates the album into two parts. And the switch, it's perfect. Like, there's no other words to say. It's perfect. And the drop and rise, for me, it feels like I'm transitioning through my life, going from when I was a kid to now where I'm almost like pre-adulthood, right there. Like when you're almost 18 years old, like the joy of being a kid and then growing up in the world. That's how I feel through it. And then I also described it as, you know, looking like it's a camera looking through memories of my life through flashes, like it's flowing through the pictures. It's like of multi pictures taken at once. Again, if also for me, it feels like I'm falling through a mirror and then going back and forth from it and breaking that mirror. It's like liquidy. It flows together like that. And then in my mind, the echoes from it and stuff are more open, but then at the end, the word play he starts talking about sounds more different. It sounds different than how it was earlier in the album. And then it feels more like he's more open talking about it. Whatever it's on his mind, he's more open to talk about it. Then moving on to Solo Reprise. This is probably, I think, my least favorite on the album, besides Future Free, which I only don't like Future Free as much as because of just how long it is, and like there's nothing in it. But Solo Reprise, for me, the start was kind of uninteresting. I didn't really enjoy it as much as compared to the others, but at the end of it, it feels like you're really, like in your life, you're just lost, but also very confused on what's going on. And it's just like, it leaves you like that, but then it just transitions to silence. Then we go to, I think, I don't know anymore. This was my favorite song, but I feel like some of the other songs have got me more captivated. This one, I think, is a surprise, I think, to some, but Pretty Sweet, I think, is the next track, but also was, and maybe still is, my favorite song. It just does everything right for me. It doesn't need, like, it didn't need that type of lyrics, but it did it somehow, even as short as it was. The intro just instantly rushes you in with adrenaline, and the echo of his voice where he's like, it feels like the 80s kind of, and he's running through it. It's very overwhelming, and the violin riff, it's very nerve-shaking. It feels scared a bit, and then the rushes kind of entices me in. It keeps me in, and it feels like I'm being dragged around with it. Then but then also to describe that feeling of like that violin, I described it as like you being really scared but then taking a drug, like when drug addicts take drugs and then not taking a drug but then somehow being gifted release from that pain that it caused you, and being then in a free state of mind, where it does the next part, it just feels like it's rushes of visions, and the lyrics start talking about parents. I thought was really nice, and talking about just how, much it means for your parents to be with you. And then I just, at the ending where it starts with the kids singing, this one gave me the most, I think, nostalgia. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to sing in Christmas carols at our school. Our school always made us do that each year in elementary school, and it really reminded me of that when I would do that. Then I just found it really beautiful and just gave me memories of when I was a kid doing that thing. And so I think you kind of take that for granted sometimes, those little things in life. But then we move on to Facebook story. I think for me, this is like when I first heard it, I was like, damn, like that's very, like, that's really fucked up. But Facebook story, it's a really heartbreaking story. Like I said, it's a relationship about a man who's with this woman, and they've been together for years, and their relationship was on great terms. And then Facebook's getting popular around this time, and she asked him to get it. And out of his own respect, he didn't want to get it, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You don't need to get it just because someone else told you to do it. But if you don't want it and you know you're not going to use it, why get it? And then she took that very wrong and interpreted him not doing that as him cheating for nothing, basically. And then he found it strange and crazy how she would do that, because he saw her every day and he loved her and was always there for her. But just because he didn't get this social media app, she ruined the course of their relationship for literally nothing. And it reminds me again of my generation, of relationships in general right now. Just, there is no love at all. Like, I think that's one reason it's so hard to get in one, because there is no love. There will be people who try their best to give it, but people around them just don't get it and only want what they see online, what they see on TV or stuff like that, and want something that's unattainable. And they might have a pot of gold sitting right in front of them, but they ignore it for the pile of trash in the distance. And it just, that's really what I think of that. Then we move on then to Close to You. For me, I love his switch up of the Stevie Wonder sample he used when they were doing that, like the live, and he was like using that wire thing in his mouth. Like, you might have seen like those memes in the past where that kid was like, like talking, like doing the Roddy Rich's The Box, and he has like his grandma's thing, and he's like doing a high auto-tune voice. But Stevie Wonder did that where he put it in his mouth and stuff. And I thought the way he flipped it was very cool and great. The lyrics kind of hurt listening to, and just how it was wishing their partner in the beginning. It was really hard listening to it, where he was talking about, you know, how he wasn't devastated when they left him, but while they were in the relationship still, it hurt more that they just weren't there for them.
I'll be honest, I wasn't devastated, but you could've held my hand through this, baby,
and help them through that pain. But instead, they left them during the midst of it. And that reminds me of, you know, my own personal experiences sometimes. It's very lonely and sad. And it's really longing to be with someone again. Just wishing you knew them better. And maybe things would have been different, you know. Then we move on to, I think this is, like, besides Pink and White, this is probably the most popular song. White Ferrari. This song, I think, now changes for me because I'm a big fan now, and knowing his relationship with his family and stuff, and like his brother who passed away unfortunately in 2021, and how much he contributed to this song is a little sad listening to it now. But I love it so much. It has such a somber tone though, and but it's also very hopeful, and it's just like him really recounting the memories of his last love, and also that continued love for them after, you know, falling apart and breaking up then. And then it also feels like he's looking at it through like memories, like he's looking at it through a memory book, and then afterwards he remembers kind of just how things were, and with it, the sound glitching, really feels like that feeling for them is back for a minute. Like at the end, it starts to glitch a bit, and it gets better, but then it glitches out, and then that feeling of love that was coming, like you thought was coming back, that you thought was real again, was only a memory. And then the rift at the end is very heart evoking, and then just heartbreaking. Now, moving on to, I think now, my most favorite song. Siegfried. To many, the song does a lot, but it's very enticing. The song, for me, when I listen to this album, I like to listen to it during the winter time. It feels like a winter vibe, but this song in particular definitely has that winter vibe. Like driving through the winter and going in the city. That's definitely what I usually like to listen to, and that's just how it feels. The lyrics, though, for this song, it really feels like he's excluded from people around him. And in the lyrics, he, at the middle part, starts admitting really his flaws and failures as a human, and how ashamed he is about it, and how he's trying to build up his life again. He's trying to find his own self again. And the guitar riff in this song is just so damn beautiful. And with it, with it rising in the back, and just also the echo tone also is very beautiful. And then just at the end where it uses the violin, that damn fucking violin he uses all the damn time, but the switch is so somber and disheartening and very emotional.
This is not my life. It's just a fond farewell to a friend. It's just a fond farewell to a friend. This is not my life. It's just a fond farewell to a friend. It's not what I'm like. It's just a fond farewell.
And just him really feeling like the lyrics say, "This isn't my life. This is just a fond farewell to a friend." And it feels like he's letting go, and then just him being able to do it after telling himself over and over in life to let go, and then realizing if I actually do, I might be okay. And he lets go, and it feels free because the violin risings, but then it feels like nothing, and it feels like, but at what cost did I have to get to this point? And it only feels like it's left with the memories of better times, and being upset about that you can't change things, but also recounting how that love they have for them is still there inside, and how they'd still do anything for them.
I do anything for you in the dark. I do anything for you in the dark.
But just in the dark of their heart. Then we move on to Godspeed, the second to last track. The intro is so enticing for me, and he continues to talk about his love then for his ex and how it will always remain, but he's also letting go. But that love then, it's always going to be there for them no matter what. I think that happens in a lot of relationships. You may break up, but that love you feel for that person never goes away. It's not the same love that it was before, but you always will care for them because of the role they played in your life. The transition is heartaching misery with the violin. It's such a somber tone.
But you'll have this place to call home, always.
And then the and female vocals that talk in the song are so bittersweet, and it's just so loose and sad. Then we move on to the last track. Future Free. I didn't write as much for this song, of course, then, but I said for me, this song really, definitely at the end, it feels like he's starting again. Like he's actually getting his life together and he's beginning to be happy for himself again. And it really feels like it's the start of a new day. What's really interesting then, the song then ends with the question, how long is a light year? And for me, I did some research, but also just thought about it more. It could mean multiple things. For one, I feel like it relates to like the numerical correlations it has. But it also feels like it feels like it's a reflection on how far he's gone in life throughout everything he's talked about with this person and also just his life in general. And just how he's moving away from the past and the feelings correlated with it. But then another meaning I took for that song and that question was just like how long life is. Like life feels like a light year because it's so long sometimes, in life. But overall, this album, it makes you feel, I think, everything right. The good, sad, ugly tears sometimes, like Young Dabo. But it's, I think, probably one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. It was an album I needed when I was in that moment of despair in my life, when I had the strength to actually listen to it again, and just taught me lessons about life. And just, I think the first album that's made me realize how good music can be, because I've never heard before and since I've listened to it an album anything like Blond. That it does something so different that it just, I don't think can ever be matched. But for me, I think this album is an S tier. I know this is the first video I will probably ever do on this, but for me, this album is a S tier, the highest it can ever get. But honest to God, I love this album. I think it's a good album, and I understand why Apple Music put it in the top 5. albums of all time. And I think if you like music, or you just want to try something new or do something just for the fun of it, listen to this album. It does something so good and well that it can't be ever replicated. And it's a good album. But that is all for this video. Maybe if this kind of does well at all, I'll maybe make another video like it. But you gotta tell me really what you would like me to review next. I was thinking though, maybe like listening to some other artist I like. If I don't get much reception on this, probably next time I will do Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar, and maybe do other albums. But if you like, just comment something in the comments below or something like that, and I'll give it a listen if I haven't before, and if I have, I'll give it a re-listen. But thank you for watching this video, and thank you for watching this review of my outlook on Frank Ocean's Blonde, and I hope to see you again sometime. And Frank, please come back. I'm not asking you to now, but please come back sometime before I'm in my mid-30s.